Good morning all, Truth Bomber back. Wanted to give you a big picture analysis of what's going on in Hollywood and how the movies and the acting world is come to a grinding halt. It's connected to Afghanistan and the CIA and the heroin industry, which was based in Afghanistan, and the $1 billion of equipment that was left in Afghanistan by the US administration. The truth is, Hollywood is built on a money laundering system, and the headquarters for that is Ukraine and China. The CIA has been controlling it for decades, and the money laundering of Hollywood was from the heroin industry in Afghanistan. Now, they controlled Afghanistan and the heroin for the global trade of this drug. And once Trump got into power and spoke his piece and said that we were going to be leaving Afghanistan, they had no choice about it. And it was tabled. And then once they stole the election from Trump, they had to follow through, and they left Afghanistan. Now what that did is it created a vacuum. So the poppies that were being farmed in Afghanistan and the farmers all of a sudden lost a huge industry. So the billions of dollars that were being siphoned out of that country had to be paid off. Hence why the Biden administration and those cronies, they left the $1 billion of equipment there as payoff. And now the Taliban run Afghanistan, and they are free to do as they please. Now, prior to this, for the last 20 years, the money that was coming out of Afghanistan, the dark money, was being siphoned through Hollywood. That's why we had dozens of movies worth hundreds of millions of dollars, pumping it into the industry, which created a huge system of business, from the production companies to the land sales for these movies, the travel, the food, all of it. And that money would be broken down. They need to clean that money, so the banks would get their share, the actors would get their share, the production companies would get their share, and they'd pump this money straight through Hollywood. And it wouldn't matter if the movie flopped or did well. Ideally, they'd like it to do well because it was more money off the top. Hear these sirens? Yeah, they don't want me telling you this stuff. But bad luck, because this is how I roll. So the money that was being pumped into Hollywood, and since Afghanistan has now been cleaned up and that industry has fallen by the wayside, it's connected to China and fentanyl. And China provides the world with fentanyl, and that's taken off because it's a derivative, or it is, I think, 10, 15 times more potent than heroin. And so that's why America has been just pummeled by fentanyl, because it had to replace the heroin industry. So Hollywood has come to its knees because the money that is supposedly being pumped into Hollywood, all the dark money, can't be cleaned anymore, and there's no funding. And so that industry has fallen flat. No one knows this stuff. All the kids, they all want to be actors and actresses, but no one's going to the movies because it's not worth it anymore. Who's going to invest real money, hard-earned money, like $300 million, into a movie like Avatar when they're not going to get a return on their money? And the likelihood of them losing that cash is pretty high, given Netflix now are making digital movies which they can flip over in a couple of months and drop online and make just as much money. So Hollywood is finished. All the directors and producers, they're all out there writing these stories, but these stories they're never going to come to the screen. So there's a huge vacuum here in Hollywood, and a lot of the actors and actresses are sitting back and they know it's over. They know it's over. A few of them have got their own production companies and doing their own projects, fair enough. Stallone's been doing that for a few years now. And it's fine because, he's got real story, he's in control, and there isn't a hidden agenda and a story within the story of his projects. Because you must all realize and take note that a lot of these stories are manipulated and they're siphoned. I shouldn't say siphoned. They're signed off by a whole department which is created by the CIA. So the CIA created this department for all scripts to go through so they could manipulate the symbolism and the storyline to fit their narrative, which is propaganda on a most vicious level. It's very, very subtle. And if you go back and look at a lot of these big stories and big movies, they kind of align and they distort history. And they do this deliberately because they want to confuse the people. Without a history, we can't know our past, and therefore we've got no guidance for our future. Oh, they're going to hate me for selling this. This will probably ban me from YouTube again. Anyway, so that's why Hollywood is finished, and they're targeting the music industry because it's just moving so quickly, and they're using rap as their agenda because it's like a low vibration and it's all about sex, drugs, money, and hoes. If you go back to the originals of Tupac and what have you, they were just rapping about the truth to wake people up. Whereas the agenda now is to rap to people to enjoy shooting people and making money and buying diamonds and cars and having sex and treating women like shit. So that's their agenda. And so Afghanistan, the dark money, that loophole's been totally shut down, and Hollywood is very much finished. So don't expect to be seeing any big blockbusters. There may be in the future once the money in the industry gets cleaned up and there is actually a profit to be made. But until then, it's over. It's over. And it's sad. And, but sometimes things have to be pulled down so they can be rebuilt on a solid foundation. And Hollywood is rotten to its core. Truth bomber out. Come and get me, YouTube.